Man, sorry for taking long there, guys. It's been quite a while. We've just been cooking with some setup, and I'm looking at the preview myself, and it looks astonishing to be like the first version of this new setup. Man, sorry that it took this long, though, guys. Gotta say, and also the fact that it also took long for us to even start the stream. We just wanted to goof around and play a little bit with our setup, just complaining really about PG3D as we always do, and some other random stuffs behind the scenes that we're not gonna elaborate about.
Yep, we're just
But
we're
here we
just
are.
yeah, we're just busy with like real life stuff. Nothing much.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, I in one hand had to deal with like final exams, so I thought for like let's actually be a bit more active for one moment because believe it or not, your boy Boston Modern didn't really like the year that he's been put through the second year, but at least I pulled through with some like minor inconveniences along the way, which I'll try to figure out how to deal with so that I can just get out of my studies as smoothly as possible. And
I'm
that's
just
just been me.
I'm just here sitting for my own exams here and whatnot, and there are some like life updates as well, some PC events like scouting and some part-time jobs and whatnot, just to kill. No, I wouldn't say kill time, but to at least spend my gap months, if you so call it, bit
The gap months.
gap months, just to spend them more wisely, if you know what I mean, instead of just like bedridden
Yes.
or stay at home like a fucking bitch. No, or like any typical Pixel 3D player, stereotypical, slandered, slander wise.
Yeah,
That's how people
so
depict them.
it's amazing that you still play the game.
Yeah, I know. And they recently, we will talk about this later. They recently have a new event that's really grindy, but then it's so tempting as well. So, will I grind for it? I'm not entirely sure, but maybe.
Use like this sword, man. What can I say? Well, yeah.
It lasts for 20 days.
For,
So, anyways, today's
yeah,
topic.
my end.
Yeah, what do you want to say? What do you want to say?
Yeah, like, but my end again. I just got myself. I got myself a summer job, so I'll just be prepping for that.
Oh,
I
that's
mean,
that's wonderful.
yeah. I mean, I already got to know that I did get it like months ago, so I was like, I should prep for it. Yeah, I took like months before I actually got the actual time to prep myself for it. But I do notice that I'm a quick learner as I'm just delving into my preparations for that particular kind of job. So that's that.
I mean,
I'm
I
just
had.
gonna wish myself luck for that job because I will also have other things coming up after finishing up that job. Gonna be earning good money, or as Snoop Dogg said, earning that good Skrilla, and then gonna be spending. I'm gonna be spending that on to some awesome stuff afterwards that I'm not gonna tell right here, right now, but maybe later. We'll see. Well, that's just enough fucking tangent and stuff. We're gonna hear and be angry about Pixel 3D because that's what we're good at. So
Yeah.
welcome, guys. Welcome to yet another episode of Dead PG3D, where today's topic we're going to be listing off our favorite blunders. Well, the worst blunders, in other words.
All right. So
With
yeah.
your host, Boston Modern and clmt. Let's go.
All right. So today's topic is what he said is PG3D blunders. This shouldn't be a very difficult topic to understand or to catch up, because we all know that Pixel 3D is notoriously known for its flaws, its structure, and obviously, and
It's millions of balls.
not to mention its faulty, weak anti-cheat. Uh,
Yeah.
so I think we should start off from where when we all started, back in like the old days, and then we just work our way up until the recent times.
I
So,
mean,
well, in your case, you started at around 2014.
yeah, those
Alright, so,
simpler days.
like
So
like
I didn't experience the game on the days where we don't have gems. I experienced the days where we didn't really have gems, maybe, and then it just evolved into a game that requires gems and whatnot, and getting more currencies along the way. But let's just keep it back in those days. Right now, it was simple, and I guess it also was more fun back then for some reason.
so to your recollection, right? Are there any notable flaws in that stage of Hexagon?
I mean, there ain't that much flaws because the game was more simple back then. Then and it's like not as overriddled with many like modes that are just trying to follow trends that just go on and then fly by and then they get left dead and such. I was simpler days. It was like, okay, you have like 5 categories instead of 6 because special and snipers were merged into one, which was a thing
Mm-hmm.
before they got separated into like 2 separate categories. Heavy was called premium, I remember,
Yes, yes, it was.
and it wasn't that much into. I was like, it wasn't that complex. Gotta say, like, again, I guess the only flaw that I can mention is that they didn't really care about the security in the first place and thought that people weren't really gonna go out and cheat their way into getting all these OP guns that we had back then. Like back then, prototype and automatic peacemaker were the big things, the big guns, the bad boys that you used to carry around and kill people really easily with the. And it's also back in the day where they did implement a silly minigun logic, which is only for realism, but it's just detrimental for the minigun.
It only makes it even
Implemented.
more like obsolete, especially in current
Yeah,
meta.
yeah, that's the thing.
Like I understand the realism, but ironically, they also implemented that stupid shotgun mechanic. Like that is not
Yeah,
realism at all. But we can talk about that later. So focusing on
yeah, yeah,
2014.
that's just mechanics that get more clearly implemented later. That's for sure. But like, yeah, it was just those two. It was just like those two, and back then the upgrades was like 2 upgrades for certain guns. It was like not. I don't think every single gun had a special upgrade. It's like certain guns that are supposed to be better guns that had upgrades,
Mm-hmm.
and you usually just upgrade them with coins. And then when gems were introduced, you also could use gems to upgrade them. And gems was like still hard to get back in the day, and there was like
When
not
there
many
was
ways
actually
to
value, when there's
do.
actually value.
Yeah, when gems actually had value, too much value, if you ask me. It's
So
too much value.
okay. So besides all that, gameplay wise, or like at least the approach.
Oh, I guess comparing to to like the different versions I've been living through, I think number one complaint is the security. The other complaint I'd have is that well, like it's not something I prick too much about, but it's because the game didn't really have cells. The game didn't feature you to swap between categories through cell. You had to strictly switch between the preset categories, which is swipe back then, you know.
Oh yeah, I remember that too.
And it was like a mobile version.
I
You
remember
had to
this.
strictly swap between weapons strictly to swipe, so you couldn't switch between like uh primary and a melee. You had to go through the backup or the melee, or go the other way around, which is the longer way around.
I remember the the swipe mechanic, whatever you want to call it back then.
Yeah, I mean it's just swipe really, and I think nobody uses that ever since the sales mechanic got introduced.
Exactly, yeah, exactly. I don't know why they made the decision.
Because that is just default gameplay now. It's like way more convenient than just simply swiping. Now everybody can just tap on whatever gun they like, switch between whatever category they like. That was like a better implement. But then again, I'm not gonna blame the very older version of Pixel Gun. It was more simple, and the only major flaw I had was that there was no security to begin with. Like I've said for like the 4th time now.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like that, and wasn't that many game modes either. The most notable ones, I guess, were just the campaign, and then your standard teamfight deathmatch, and maybe a couple other multiplayers. Maybe what was it? Daily games were there too, if I remember correctly. Just all in all, not that many, and you could still enjoy the game while it was added in that state. And of course, this was also before you could even customize your lobby. So like the lobby was just strictly set into like one type of background, which also changed over time throughout the updates until you could customize the lobby, and that became a whole nother issue.
So like throughout 2014, that's around 2014 until like 2017, that's where I joined then. So like anything else like in terms of balancing, I'm pretty sure the developments and the updates weren't as like frequent as it is right now. I don't I, and
No,
like
it surely wasn't.
and then hacker wise 2016 is where I think probably where most people will remember how far most people how far they remember when hacking first started. If you know what I'm talking about, like 2016 is where people will agree. Most of them will agree when it actually started. Because if I if I remember correctly, hackers weren't as significant. Uh, uh, yeah, its occurrence it's not as significant compared and or until like 2016, like I said, because this most of I think like most of the oldest mod menus I've seen on YouTube they're like around 2016. So like
Well, I guess you get why like when it started because of that.
yeah, like
Because
that's the
mod.
general idea. And is that true? Do you think is that true, or maybe or is there like or are there like earlier hackers stuff?
I mean, I think that's about right because again, also got to think that even though the game launched with hardly any security to begin with, people weren't that aware about it until that time, I believe, and that's why we had this huge hacker revolution or like hacker uprising in 2016 when it was well known that the game is that vulnerable to the point you can literally hack anything in that game, which also led to the maybe developers like the small team or whoever that still developed there to just think that let's just make the guns prices more expensive even though that's not really gonna do any damn shit.
Actually, speaking of which, right? So the reason why hackers okay, I think the general theory is that why hackers exist in Pixelgun is because one of them is because uh not only just the game is very vulnerable, but also they just want to make things easier for themselves, like make the game more accessible, as in like hacking the weapons, modding their accounts to get more weapons. So, okay, with this principle in mind, maybe like, what do you? Is it because do you think that the reason why hackers are not as big of an issue back then is because the game isn't as competitive slash overwhelming before than it is today? Like, do you think this is like one of the factors, the motives that instigate the motives of hacking in this game?
I can say that the quality of life might have played some good role there. The constraints of the game. But then again, like I think nobody really did know how vulnerable PG3D was until the hacker uprising era.
Hmm.
So I think when people thought like the constraints of the game wasn't really as good, and probably at the multiplayer days because 2015, 2016 was when the game started becoming more competitive.
Mm-hmm.
That along with the quality of life of the game not being particularly that good because you took maybe way too long to just get the OP weapons to the point that it forces you to pay, and people just started finding other ways to just get around with the problem, and hack was the solution, and especially on a game that didn't have security. So I think it's like a combination of the lack of security and also shitty constraints back then.
All right. So, shall we move on to 2017?
It's like again, it is crazy to think that a game that is launched without a significant security to fit with their current constraints have been like prevalent throughout its entire history because it's generally been like that.
So, because the devs want to like,
I don't, I don't have a flat out concrete evidence because I can't just dig in. I could just data mine to the oldest days of the games right now and just bring out the concrete evidence like that, but like looking at from the effects of what the game has become and what the community made out of it, like I am very convinced that the game had hardly any security, and anyone could agree from that standpoint.
I'm thinking like the issue with Pixel security is that honestly, like, I think the biggest picture here, what we can really tell is that they really only focus on like the content. Yeah, we can tell that he didn't prioritize security at first. I for you, there's already clear evidence and it's already shown, like it's already like I said, evident in like back in
I,
the first years, right? But for me, for
I,
like a normal person like me, it would take like years, or at least yeah, it would take like years, or at least like some time for the game to grow, and then we just need to observe. It only takes me years to observe of observation to only realize the flaws and what could
I,
actually cause this, and yeah, the neglect of like the security. Anything like besides just like wanting just for content and attention. I think like
I,
they're somewhat blinded by this, so they don't really focus on security much.
I mean, it's also added a cost to the game development for them, and they just want to earn money. They don't want to lose
Yeah,
any kind of money in that regard. Well, it's like you're putting unbalanced stats to it too, to the point that it looks like if you could mine out a JoJo shard out of this JoJo stat shard out of this, you probably see like 100 just content, zero security, and whatever else you have, just maybe a little bit.
hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so
Just
like what if like Pixagon just really start focusing on like let's say I doubt this will actually I doubt they will actually prioritize security at this point, even though they have said
no,
countless times in
I
their
highly,
Discord
I
server.
highly doubt that in the current state of affairs. I
Like,
really doubt
like
that.
even though they
But
announced the server like multiple times saying that they have been working on hackers. Okay, I have to be brutally honest, right? Yes, the amount of hackers has been has been decreased, has been declining because lately I hardly meet any hackers. Back then,
that's
when the
okay.
PC port was a new thing when it was first introduced, it was infested. Like if the mobile hacking community isn't enough, with the release of the PC port, it only makes things worse. And honestly, yeah, like I said, I think like on our first episode of the second season, I actually did mention like this just it's just another gateway, and it only makes the game more vulnerable, more accessible to just hacking in general. Like I get the point, but there is effort, but I really doubt they'll actually win this arm race. Like, cause like what you said, they didn't prioritize security in the first place.
Yeah, like I said, 100 content, zero security. That's what's gonna be prevalent in a JoJo shard or Pixagon 3D. I could you not know.
It's like
And we're gonna and like it's been so prevalent that it's still an issue right now, which is idiotic. You've
oh,
been living like for 10, 13 years or something, and you still haven't figured that shit out.
like
That's crazy to me.
they just celebrated their 11th anniversary. So
Yeah, they celebrate the 11th anniversary and they still have issues with hackers.
goddamn.
And like to be fair, to be somewhat fair, it's like if you see a game where you have a mod menu that legit just lets you alter the foundational stats and currencies and whatnot of the game, that should really raise a red flag, a big red flag of their security, as they're really lacking of security. Because
As
if someone can make a mod menu, a mod menu like we've seen in Pixelgun 3D, oh my god, the security must not be good at all, or like non-existent.
But then, like, if you think about it, right? I'm not praising hacking or something, or I'm not endorsing it at all. But think about it, right? The
Of
thing,
course, like we don't endorse hacking. Again, it's like what we said like a couple of episodes ago. If the hackers manage to kill the game, I literally feel no sympathy for them because you should have figured that shit out in the first place.
I mean, they're reaping what
You reap what you sow.
they're reaping what they sow right now.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
as I was saying, right? To think that there are already mod menus. So I think from what I from here, I see two things. I understand two things that Pixel is really getting attractions. Okay, because it's a growing game back then. And second of all, like I said, yep, they don't have a very competent anti cheat system.
Huh.
Or you can also, like I said, or like what I just said earlier, maybe because of the content, life quality update, because of the just the life quality. What you just said, yeah,
Quality of life.
quality of life. Yes, my bad. Yeah, because of all of that, maybe like these are like the main motives from what I understand. So that hacking was an issue. I think we're talking about 2016, right? I think we've
Yeah.
moved on to 2016. So, yeah, I wasn't really there, but then like you can search up like the evidence, the mod menus, the PG3D mod menus. The most prevalent one goes as old as this 2016 because this is like
Right.
because this is like where you will most likely like find this is where you most likely see the first ever mod menu. Like
Hmm.
for example, like the developer console, yeah, that shit is definitely 2016. And it was viable. It was still like one of the main ways of hacking until like 2018, if I remember correctly. I
Yeah.
remember I was like 10 years old. I was in my friend's house. I was looking at videos of like how to hack. Yeah, and yeah,
That is crazy.
that was the developer console. It was still a thing after 2 years. Well, for its time, 2 years. Back then it was like 2018, 2015. Yeah, I was really young back then.
Hmm.
So like yeah, this
Crazy to
is
figure out so much.
so this is where 20 so this is like the major flaw of 2016 from what I know. I'm not sure about you. You are definitely more knowledgeable than I do. So from what I know is that 2016 is where hacking exploiting was a thing. And I'm telling you, getting a ban screen is just as rare as I don't know. It's a really unlikely occurrence. It's just that rare to get a ban screen, and then YouTubers like ESO even like make some the weirdest theories or like or like just making up some weird ways to get the ban screen or to get banned in general, like having an inactive account. Like what?
Yeah.
So yeah, we can also talk about the bugs and glitches. Yes, I do.
Uh,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
have existed, yeah.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, that did exist. One of them that I do remember quite well was when they introduced the chess system, and you could watch which ads, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
You could watch ads a certain amount of times to get certain amount of spins or one spin.
Mm-hmm.
But the catch back there was you can change date and time and then reset the counter so you can keep watching and keep spinning.
I think I still have some recollection of that thing. It's really familiar. I have to be really honest. It's really familiar.
Well, like,
Is it because they turn off? They just turn on and turn off the internet connection, and they just somehow. I can't remember how it was, but it is definitely familiar.
yeah, it was something like that. So there might have been other weird glitches throughout those years, but the most prevalent issue for the game was hacking.
Hold on.
And it has been like that until I'd say the supposed office revolution, and the stupid hashtag of saying like make PG3D great again in May. Just like in May 20 what? Not 2018 or something.
Well, we're fast forwarding to that already. I think yeah.
Because there's not much actions going on, and the game just slowly but steadily had updates. Because there weren't that many updates, and the updates just came slowly between like a long span of time before the supposed office revolution. And then after that, of course, there was like several implementations. They started to just up the pace and then give like monthly updates.
And not only just that, and also like weekly. I wouldn't say yeah weekly, like weekly events and whatnot. So I do count that as some sort of updates. I'm not entirely sure. But what do you think? Yeah. We also have like
Yeah.
glitches. Wait, let me try to think about the glitches. The glitches. Oh god, I can't remember much back then. It was such a long time ago. and maybe I wasn't really aware about the glitches back then. Like the only thing I remember.
Whoa.
Sorry, my mom's. Can we pull up the BRB screen?
Yeah, do that. I'm also taking a pee real quick.
Jesus. All right, we're back.
Whoa, Mountaineer again. Let's go.
Let's go. So yeah, we
Right.
were doing some stuff just now. Yeah. So
Yeah, I just have an enormous sip of water while just mumbling on random things. That's all I'm gonna say.
and I coughed and I had the hardest cough of my life. So
Yeah, it's turning to a grandpa, guys.
speaking of becoming grandpas, about 2016, we could, I remember one of the most popular glitches on YouTube and around the community is it's about like out of bounds where you can just go outside the map and use that as an advantage to like get like high kills in the game, if you know what I'm talking about. I think,
Yeah, I
but
remember that being a thing. I just don't know. I just didn't know exactly how you could do it.
yeah, I think it's because they introduce. Okay, what I think because they introduced the portal cannon. I think when it was first introduced, out of bounds glitch was everywhere. It was like almost in every single map. You just have to use your brain a little. And people use this as an advantage to like get high kills. So this is back then. Or some people just want to have fun with it. And this, as time goes on, it evolves in more into more okay because the devs will definitely back then were actively patching glitches. So out of bounds glitch evolves in a really rapid rate. So, and then not only just that, it becomes even more and more complex and requiring more like rare weapons or like even more like let's say gadgets or pets. You know, it's really complicated. That's what I'm saying. Instead of just like shooting the same portal twice to no clip out the map, it went to something like putting a turret on your pet because mesh issues because of the mesh, and then somehow you just shoot the portal with it. I can't remember how it went. It was really complicated. There probably some videos up there. I'm not entirely sure if they still work. All right, and
Mm.
and with all of that, then only you can no clip out the map. Here's the thing. I get it. They patched it. So right now, I'm not right now. I mean like recent years, like 2021 to 2023. You can still do them, but it's highly impractical in actual matches because they took so much resources. The setup took so much resources and time. It's not even worth it doing public matches. You just get killed like the moment you start setting them up. Not to mention the gadget cooldowns and whatnot. So this
Mm.
is what I remember back then in 2016, 2017 because there isn't really much going on. So not much flaws, but I assume that right now the devs are just taking huge risks, playing stupid game with stupid prizes, and now they're just making more mistakes than ever. But we get to that. We will get to that later. So how about you, boss?
Oh, you'll see. We'll see as we move on. The more stupid games they play, the more stupid prices they've received over the years. We'll get to that afterwards because that's like the essence of this entire episode right here.
Yep.
Really, I mean, I guess that was like one of the other glitches and exploits and what have you not that might have been existing before the real shitstorm happened with the Office Revolution. That's all I'm gonna say to that. Just like again, there might have been some other random glitches that you could do with
Like
certain stuff that could have given you the edge back in the days. Well, it's just been mostly forgotten because what's really been sticking more to my mind is like the more recent events or should I say mishaps
all
for
right.
like the last 4 or 5 years or something.
Hmm. So
Literally before I started my own channel. Well, yeah.
and I think besides that, wait, oh yeah, do you remember anything about like the glitch about like you know how the games back then will like rent you a weapon for like a few games, and I heard that you can use a glitch to get
The
it.
rentals.
Yeah,
The rentals.
the rentals, yeah, and then there's like a glitch where you can actually own the weapon in cheaper ways, you know, more easily. I can't remember how it went.
See, I see. This is like on the surface, it looks like a good thing, but like, if you if you take a good look at it, it is just there to taunt you because they just somehow program it to appear whenever you don't really have enough gems and you won't practically have time to get enough gems on its discounted price to be able to get it anyways.
Ah, I see what
That's
you
the
mean.
only issue. That's the only issue I have with that. There, it's just there to fucking taunt you.
I think this thing, I wouldn't say it's still practical. Obviously, weapon rentals are not even a thing anymore. But the intention of taunting definitely still implies to modern day PG3D. I can definitely say that.
It's like that's a realization. That's a realization I came up to when I actually had a good look at it because the one weapon that often became available as a rental weapon that was like decent good back in the days. Also, the days where I remember the Paradise Resort map was added. It was a Secret Forces rifle. That shit got like featured as a rental weapon to me so many times. It's actually unbelievable. And it also got a discounted price. But like I see like more often than not, they just bring out those weapon rentals and then discount it for an amount of gems you practically are not able to get
For me,
during its discounted time, which was like 1 hour.
I I thought it was like 2 days. You know, maybe I'm just going through a Mandela effect. For me, the most like I think the weapon I got rented, the rental offered the most is like the multitaskers, the funny backups.
The ones that people somehow compare with tracers, pistols from Overwatch.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether that's a reskin or not.
Because I found it somehow weird that they found some weird correlation to that and Tracer's weapons because I don't really see much of a similarity to it, like shape wise, other than just the choice of colors, which is just be too pricky if you're just gonna go out of your way and say, look, they shows this same color palette as this character, they're sure copying. That is a bit pricky.
Hmm. I mean,
I
reskins.
get it if it's just straight up blatant copies. I get if it's straight up blatant copies of models. Like if you take it the other way around, I would actually say that there will be more of a copy because you straight up copy their model. That's just a better reason to say that they copy rather than just a choice of color because you can literally have the color blue on any fucking game. Like what's wrong with that? But if you choose like different models and reskin it, that could be more of a reason to say, "Oh yeah, you just straight up copy from this game. You're such a loser." Something like that.
Well, to from what I understand, right? Because copying models, like, okay, we can only have this many colors. Think about it. I get what you mean. People will often get called out if you were to could just copy the model, because it's a model. And then for color wise, we can only have this much colors. We only have this many colors. Yeah.
No, not really basing on that. I don't care like how many colors we can use
Okay, so what you saying?
because colors can be used in any way. You gotta give your game some life with those colors. So just saying, so like if you use different models with different colors and it somehow correlates to like another game's asset just
Oh,
because of the color, I don't think that's a valid argument because
okay.
because colors should be used like it is supposed to be universally used anywhere. Like it shouldn't imply that someone is copied just because of its color fucking palette.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I see what you mean. Instead, it should be like the model. Yeah,
It's not really considered as like an intellectual property. The one things that is more considered is of an intellectual property is the actual model and the mesh and all that shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That I can understand if you were straight up copying and reskinning that shit, which is also another issue that became more prevalent in the later days as well. I think I'm not sure what was the earliest reskins because they did start it before they did had it at some point before the Office Revolution. Just
Yeah.
didn't remember exactly which it was, but that was also a thing. Yeah, now that we talked about it,
I mean,
reskins were a thing, and it's stupid.
I think it's when the siege mode was a thing, when the clan revamp. That's where most of the reskins come in, if I remember correctly. Oh, was
Like
it?
anti-champion rifle and that bullshit.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not sure. It was that. Was it still released
The
on something?
Champion League set were entirely reskins, I believe.
Yes, yes. They are. They all are. No, not only just that, we got Adamant, and we also got. I think that's it. I think that's it.
We got the champion set. I'm gonna look up the champion set again right now.
Okay, I can tell you. Okay, automatic peacemaker.
Yeah, all of my peacemaker, the kryptonite fucking rifle,
The anti-champion rifle,
PG3D,
the electric funny thingy, and the
champion set, solar power
solar
cannon.
power
Oh my
cannon.
god, that shit got reskins
And then the
too.
mercenary,
Oh my fucking god, man!
champion mercenary. Yeah.
And then that special electric beam that I fucking forgot what it was called now. And then the spy gun.
Wait, how about the
Right.
melee?
Yeah, it wasn't.
How about the melee? I can't remember the melee
Nah,
much.
there was no melee.
Okay,
It had no melee champion equivalent.
thank goodness.
And then I also realized no, they also added an adamant set, which is also an entire fucking reskin set as
I'm
well.
pretty sure there is a melee in
Mainly,
there. I'm pretty sure there is a melee in there.
no,
Oh my
neither that.
fucking god. Yeah,
The only no the only reason to why I can to why I can get you to say that is because of the special weapon, because that special weapon looks like a melee weapon, but it is a special weapon. It's like the energy spear.
the laser spear. Yeah, I know. That's a
Yeah.
special. Oh yeah, speaking of which, right? Fun fact. Just a quick update. They buffed. This is really recent. They buffed the Diamond Toy Bomber, the heavy of that set.
And
They
who cares?
yeah. No,
And
no,
it's like who cares? Because they only do that to just project themselves as, yeah, we're listening, we're trying to adjust this and that. You have 1,000 guns and you keep rolling in the fucking guns, man.
the thing is
You
that
keep rolling in the fucking guns
it
to
it
the
just
point that it's just fucking useless.
the thing is that this buff is just it just shows this kind of loop. You know they always have this tendency. There's this bad practice, this horrible practice, just like repeating the same thing over and over again, despite what aspect it is. In this case, it's balancing. They literally nerf the like some mythic heavies of the same of similar properties just to buff other heavies with similar properties. If you know what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
Like I'm telling you, you can read their shit like a book. They nerf sock bomber and then they buff and diamond bomber. Like what the fuck?
I'm a toy bomber. Oh my
And it has to
god.
be that weapon in particular for some reason. It's so random. It's a ghost buff. It's a ghost buff. It was never mentioned. I don't think it was ever mentioned. It's just suddenly blown. At some point, it's quite popular. It was blown in popularity in maps like the White House. No referencing. I don't think there's any
Love it
reference.
because of its relatively feature. You fire bouncy bolts that dealt like super high damage back then, but now I think it deals like a tiny little bit of damage because that's literally how they roll. They roll the metas and then they just leave it straight to be obscene,
Mm.
and then they just randomly bring that obscene weapon back, quote unquote back, which is some random nerf or like random buff that is ultimately insignificant to this entire shit.
I mean the thing that the other flaws they have done. This is quite not as significant.
But yeah, I mean, ever since they started doing reskins, they keep doing that from time to time. I'm not entirely sure, but I do have the feeling that they're doing it less now than what they did like around the Office Revolution and then the early years with that shit.
Hmm. All right. I think. Do you want to move on to like recent years? I think when did you quit Pixel?
Sure.
Is it like 2021?
Ooh. 2020, 2021, man. You can log into your game and check the number of days and base it on that.
I think it's 2021. Okay, so like I said, the glitch. Okay, so the out of bound glitch is still a thing in 2021. In fact, there's like actually videos about it still. But I mean, obviously, there's like 3 years ago, but at this point, and people will still be doing it. Like I said, people will actually learn. I don't know how they discovered it in the first place. Probably they just did like hours of research and fuck around to find out. and it is
I
just
think
documented.
there's a lot of fuck around and find out, man. To be fair, I think
Okay,
it was a lot of that.
okay, and obviously 2021, it's already too late for Pixagon. Is we're a bit like a bit far from where they start to become like a piece of shit, a bad of a game, a bad game.
Yeah, before it became even worse than what it already was.
So 2021 is already a bad year to start with, to be honest. I mean, for this topic, because 2019 and 2020 there's already like issues. But from as far as I remember, right, most of them are around this time frame, this timeline, 2021 and afterwards.
I'm
So
gonna go back. Hold on, let me see this. I'm gonna actually go back to Facebook and then search hashtag make Pixelgun great again.
my fucking god, what happened to that shit? So like yeah, they like
Yeah,
to break.
because that just went to shit, man.
Ever since that thing was everything, ever since they tried to revamp or like try to commit Donald Trump, everything just goes downhill.
Exactly, man. This dated back in 2018. My God.
Okay, so what do I remember still? All right, so shit balancing. That is without a doubt the worst, one of the worst things I've done. The biggest flaws besides anti-cheat, weak anti-cheat.
Right.
We got terrible balancing, terrible rules. Like, no, not rules. Like implementations, like banning certain snipers from sniper forts, and same goes to knife party. But knife party seems more reasonable, mainly because of like the healing area. Like healing weapons, some healing weapons are banned, and dash weapons are banned. That's like the best thing they have done. We'll talk about dash weapons later because there's actually a story behind this for some reason. So for healing weapons, they ban healing weapons. I do understand that, but to ban heavy sniper rifle from sniper forts, that's just doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Yeah, I'm talking about yeah. So balancing, yeah, this is like some of the weirdest things they've done, and I still couldn't understand why they would still do that from a sniper forts player perspective here. I still cannot fathom why they would like ban certain weapons. Like, why can't they just like they would rather allow the carbon copy of heavy sniper rifle, harsh punisher, and plus it has X-ray and you allow in sniper forts. Like goddamn, like they banned overseer back then. They banned overseer from sniper forts because it has X-ray. But then again, there's like so many more of this of similar properties snipers in the game in allowed in the map as well. So like, what's your point?
Oh, that is just PG3D devs at its finest, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. We completely missed one thing. Yeah, they added. I think we should talk about adding delays to weapons. I think this is also one of the major flaws.
See that that came as an effect to one of their biggest mistakes they've ever made, and that was partnering up with Echo Soldier and Exotic Gaming, I believe. But they
Yeah,
put Echo Soldier more in the spotlight than Exotic Gaming for some reason. Probably because they have more subs than Exotic Gaming, which is a stupid ass reason if you ask me now.
I thought Exotic has more subs.
Did he back then?
Back then, I'm not entirely sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Because Echo Soldier was still using his main account back then. Yeah, okay, it makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, this was before he was called. He got a separate channel called Pixel Echo, which is doing quote unquote wonders nowadays. Y'all know, y'all get the vibes from me now. It means absolutely horrible. And like the viewer to sub rate is actually hilarious.
So it was
But
a
yeah,
what?
I was gonna elaborate. Sorry, I was gonna elaborate on the that mistake because the two of them happened to hate what was being well developed as cat spam, the well-known free cat spam, which has like gained more popularity and was like a more acknowledged as like a skill, as like a better skill, and also what made the game stand out from like the other shooter games back then. They didn't like it because they were just huffing that massive copium. They're just trying to cope with it now they just attain power. And like maybe I could understand Exotic more because he has more experience with the game before he got partnered up with PG, but I couldn't understand them adding Echo Soldier because he had little to no experience of the game back then, and it just shows it out of spite because of popularity in terms of
Don't you
subs. That is so dumb, in my opinion,
don't you
man.
want to suspect that? Don't you want to like take yeah? Don't you want to take like favoritism into account? Maybe like
That was also a thing because now that they partnered up with them, they just listen to what they have to say, which are like more than enough minorities' opinions back then. So we all know what happened whenever they became like the media outlets between, or like or should I say, like the middleman between the community and the devs and what have you not.
hmm.
And they even had this like supposed developer meetings and had a little chit chat about what to do there and what have you not. But they said, but they both didn't like cat spam. They said like we should nerf cat spam, and they did simply because it was them.
And because of
Most definitely.
and starting from cat spam there, and there comes the other features like fucking sniper recoil, not being able to reload on scope. That's like that okay that I know it might sound like a minute detail, but it's a feature that some games have, and they decided to remove that, and I thought it was special. And it, yeah, I thought the feature of being able to reload while scope, I thought that was something special, but then like I yeah, and then at first I thought I understand the developers of nerfing that, but then like now that I've played more FPS games, I've come to realization that it doesn't really fucking matter. Why can't you scope while reloading? It's not an intended feature, right? I know it's not an intended feature, but right now it's presented more as a fucking bug. So
Really.
what I'm saying is that when I was playing Sniper Forts, sometimes, okay, if you get the timing right, intentionally or not, you can soft lock yourself into a scope while reloading. But in my case, most every single time, 100% of the time, are unintentional. So you couldn't back up the scope if you want to because you're in a soft lock. So again, another bug which is still present today, where
Mm.
if you get the timing right, you can scope while reloading. But then again, I'm pretty sure in that case, you wouldn't really want to. You don't have the intentions to do it. It's not done but intentionally because it's a tight window, and yet again, it can yeah you can easily and accidentally trigger the bug, and I find it really annoying because
I
if you know what I mean.
Okay, I get what you've been saying so far, and here's what I think about it. I guess it can somewhat make the game special, but also what is a common practice with the whole scope? Scope is considered ADS. What does ADS do to your movement? It slows you down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's why there's not a lot of games. That's why not a lot of games give you the option to just go ADS or scope while slowing down. Like I hardly seen any game that has that kind of feature
Like
because
wait,
essentially it is, and essentially it is a detriment. Like the only time where that is applicable is if you were using sniper weapons and you are intending to shoot from a safe and long range. That's the only time I can see that being useful. Other times it's just a detriment to the gameplay. That's
oh,
why they don't
like
really use
slowing
it.
you down using ADS.
Yeah, because it slows down your movement whenever you're ADSing. It's like becoming a default standard. That's why when people create these kind of shooter games and they implement that, they're not really gonna let you have the option to just scope or ADS while reloading because why would you really? It just slows down your
I
movement.
mean, same goes to hip fire accuracy generally.
What about it?
I mean, hip fire accuracy sometimes the bullet would just straight up flying to somewhere else that's I don't know unrealistic. But whatever. That's probably just me smoking copium right now because I really hate hip fire
Uh,
accuracy being a thing.
Here's me maybe smoking coke. Here's me maybe smoking coke. Yeah, see the thing that made Pixel Gun 3D stand out to other shooter games, at least for me, is like I did notice that it's like we're going to point to hip fire inaccuracy, especially on sniper. How you fire a sniper in real life? Does that shit go upwards whenever you fucking fire a sniper rifle? No. You'll probably go as if you were ADSing with that sniper IRL. Which is why I don't really get why they just thought, oh, well, snipers are also strong, so this should balance it out. Sure, man. PG3D didn't have none of that shit. You could fire a sniper bullet straight to the crosshair, whether it was hip fire or not. And that's what I really liked about it.
Same here. I really agree with it too. I do agree with that as well because that okay to implement to make hipfire accuracy terrible, right? It just somewhat defeats the point of having a fucking crosshair. So that's why some games from okay so for what we've discussed here and through my observations, right? That's probably because why some FPS games when you pull up the sniper, the crosshair will be like widely spread by default, if you know what I'm talking about.
What, to indicate the accuracy of the hip fire?
Yeah, and to also play safe as in not to defeat the point of having a crosshair. Because why have a crosshair when your weapons are not going to be accurate in the first place?
Yeah,
If your
I
main
don't really
motive,
understand that.
if
It,
you
like I
what
yeah.
if
No,
like
I
if
don't really understand it. Fuck.
because like if your main motive is to literally incentivize people to use the scope, then might as well just remove the crosshair in general for snipers. You know what I mean? Now, like
I think
some games does not have hipfire accuracy, and I respect
that
that.
is
As
that
in,
is just
as
that
in
is just
100%, as in 100% hipfire accuracy. I respect that. I respect that.
wow.
If it's like ARs, I might understand a bit because we're all humans. Ain't no way we have like hands of steel where, despite the recoil, we can shoot our bullets 100% accuracy. I'm talking about ARs here, because you know
Right.
ARs they have high fire rates, so the vibrations. If you know what I'm talking about, I have not held a gun before, but true common fucking sense, it does
Uh,
make, it does make some, it does make some because ARs, you know. But a sniper,
I mean,
besides recoil, the accuracy shouldn't be much of a problem.
well, here's some Boston Modern lore when it comes to those things, because your boy Boston Modern has in fact held a shotgun and a rifle and just do some target practice with it.
What were you targeting?
Uh Shotgun discs, just some flying discs. Didn't really hit any of them for some dumb reason, even though I thought I was gonna hit it. And the other one being a sniper rifle, I believe, or
Excuse me, I choked on water.
like the hunter's rifle, which I might or may not have made a couple of hits. But but that was like so long ago. I mean, you're not the only one who was choking on water sometimes.
All right.
Oh yeah, that's that. I mean, again, back to the hip fire thing. If you're gonna represent inaccuracy just because balancing measures, which is like borderline not a good enough excuse, in my opinion, especially on a sniper. Like, why are you fucking diverting the bullet to go another way just simply because it's a sniper? See, PG3D figured that shit out, but like the rest of the FPS or like the rest of the shooter games just refuse to implement that shit
I think that's
simply because it's like too overpowering.
yeah. I think that's like the only excuse they have just to, just for the sake of balancing they well if they do acknowledge this they have to sacrifice like some games honestly like this just this shows this just shows that how important balancing is. Like I wouldn't say not like important, like how much devs would do and to sacrifice just for the sake of balancing, even if it means like losing some realism, if you know what I'm talking about. Just
I
goes to
mean, in
show.
the end, it's a game.
Sorry, what?
I mean, in the end, it's a goddamn
Yeah,
game.
it's a game, yeah. But then again, it just goes to show how devs actually pay attention, how much they value balancing, and yeah, and ironically for Pixagon, okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah, that's probably the one small W they have when in terms of balancing. We might get to a bit more of that afterwards. Now, what else was it before the 2018 Office Revolution that I found out here?
have you found any sources? We're jumping between timelines right now.
Probably. Tuh. I mean, again, there's not that much to talk about before the Office Revolution. What and what could you not? Yeah, we were talking about Echo Soldier. Again, pissing off an entire PG3D community who was like just getting more accustomed to free cast spams. It's literally this loud minority. It's literally this loud minority kind of phenomenon, should I say, that keeps happening for some dumb reason. And this is like no exception, where you have some guy who just copes and huffs the biggest copium because he can't cope with free cat spam because of his silly gamer skills in PG3D. It just suggests now we should our free cat spam. It's like, bitch, it was like just implemented there. I just want to remove what made the game more unique and also a skill that surely elevated the game and also gave its own identity, in my own opinion. I also did notice more recently, like the newer people, they're just retarded, man.
Mm-hmm.
They
The newer
they
people.
they despise free cat spam, even though it's like whatever I've said before. They despise. They even say it's a no skill. It's like, bitch, you tell me that free cat spam is a no skill. You compare people using several categories and switching between them as no skill compared to your dumbass using a powerful weapon and then calling that skill and you're just spamming that shit. Tell me if you have if like any sensible person would obviously agree with me and then ridicule you to oblivion. Really? I don't know what you have to say about that, but that's like my take on those newer people. Should just make a part two where I can maybe elaborate on that because that was like a mental blow that I shouldn't have gotten.
I mean, I won't be surprised because of because of the recent influence. I won't be surprised.
I
And
also
not,
read this one other YouTube comment of a guy say, "Oh, I respect people who just play casual against free cat spam because that's brave. Yeah, it's brave when you have to resort to the top trending broken weapons and what could you not because you literally can't deal with you can't use anything else other than that if you actually want to have a chance to deal with free cat. You're the ones who doesn't have skill there. Free cat people have skill, especially when they know how to use it."
I mean, to be fair, tree cat spam also includes like it kind of covers like the most, not the most, the essential skills of the essential skills and the basic mechanics of the game. It involves every single thing like aiming, switching weapons, good mobility. It has it all. It only much makes you strong and less vulnerable in games. You
That's what
know,
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, and then people just be copying on it.
because it
There's
has
like,
everything. It has
yeah,
everything on the book of being good at an FPS game. Good movement, quick reactions, good fucking
yeah,
aim. That's the thing. Good fucking aim. That's the main
yeah.
skill
It
of a
incorporates
FPS game.
all of yeah that and free cat incorporates all of that and made PG stand out. Now you just want PG to just be like the average fucking what hard game
Yeah,
where
because
you
you're
only switch
usually
between the primary, secondary, and the melee. Might as well half the categories and made PG look like another bland ass FPS game that you
That,
can
that
play anywhere else in a better device.
that's the thing
If that was the
too.
case,
It encourages combos, or like what you just say, combo string. But I would say something
right?
like juggle between categories. It teaches you how to utilize your shit to the fullest instead of being those single cell organisms where they would just use one weapon over and over again. Tree cast spam is not
Yeah,
like that. You learn how to use every single weapon, and it forces you to understand the mechanics of it, and frankly speaking, that is I don't think because of the new delays, because I added delays and fixed delays, so is I
yeah,
don't think it's not as
because of the influence of those two YouTubers,
so it's not as
and
apparent right now. It's
which
not as,
which which would have most definitely not have made an impact on all of this if they weren't there.
so it just discourages you to like give a shit about how some weapons work, because like right now, if the devs introduce like a hard to use weapon, chances are nobody's gonna use it. Weapons like with the boomerang feature, like not the combat yo-yo or something like the combat yo-yo, but you get what I'm saying. Like there are weapons
Mm,
like with the boomerang feature. Well, the attribute says for itself. It acts like a boomerang because it was so hard to use. People are not bothered anymore. That's just that's just one example. Like imagine. So this is what happens if cat spam wasn't a thing. So people wouldn't be bothered learning a certain weapon because it was just that hard to use. And sometimes weapons like these will end up just getting buffed so much. It instead of becoming an easy weapon, it became a no skill weapon, which is what we don't want. If you know what I mean. So because of these balancing changes and the recent influence, yeah, it slowly discourages players to use the weapons to truly understand them. I know for a fact, right? Yeah, and not only just that, actually, not only just that, because of the new delays, cat spam weapons have become really, really limited. So like imagine the game without delays whatsoever. Imagine the amount of cat spam combos you can have, and because of that, more players we are able to understand more about the game's mechanics in terms of weapons. If you know what I'm talking about, right?
mm.
So like because of fixed delays, right? This is okay. This is based on the principle, the theory that we've just discussed. If they're just gonna add more delays, right? Then people would just not know people would just not gonna utilize how do I say utilize the full inventory like how a cat spammer would do, and I wouldn't say that they will completely not be able or to lose their ability to understand or whatnot, but it would just slow down the pace, if you know what I'm talking about.
I mean,
I
the
I
game will be. I feel like the game will be more boring in that sense. In my opinion, again.
yes, it makes the gameplay more boring, but like not only just cat spam, like just combos in general, like a string of weapons. Doesn't have to be cat spam, you know. Yeah, again because of delays, it's now also a string of actions as well. If you know what I'm talking about. But imagine like the
Right.
combos, like something like head enlargement weapons, and then followed by a one tap to the head sniper. Like imagine these. Imagine without the game without these delays. These combos will be widely used. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it encourages players to use their brain a bit more and to come up
Yeah,
with
of course.
creative combos instead of like sucking off the current meta, like right now. Like that's what I'm trying to do,
I
just
mean,
to come up with like different combos for like different situations, you know. And I really enjoy doing that instead of like some people just use the current meta, and then funny enough they will always complain about the game. People who use meta, most of the time, are the same people who will complain about the game being boring. In
yeah.
reality, they are just making the gameplay, their own experience boring themselves.
Wow. I
Think about it.
mean, they're probably kids who doesn't know any better. To be fair.
Yeah, well, to keep things short, yeah, that's basically it. Like people keep complaining, man, this game is boring. Motherfucker, you've been using the same loadout for so long.
Yeah, no wonder why it's boring for you because you'd never want to get
S-
out of your comfort zone for like a
Exactly,
split second.
exactly. So, like I said, so cast spam delays, right? No, so
You're like the rock that's sitting there to be just washed to just be drained off bit by the river that's flowing way faster than you.
so like I said, so cat spam delays. This is like a huge issue. I think like besides security, this is like the second biggest impact of the game mechanic, and it has a long. It has a really yeah. In the long run, it has such a huge impact to the mechanics,
Yeah, I mean,
mainly the
a major
mechanics.
flop. I mean, again, a major flop was the limitations and the nerfs of free cat spam. To be dead honest, if they straight up didn't want free cat spam at all, they should have just removed the ability to switch weapons between cells.
Okay, you know what? You actually have a point here. You actually have a point here.
Because that is the reason why you could do free cat spam in the first place.
Yeah, because of how
If the cells
accessible.
wasn't there, no free cat spam was available. Free cat spam were never available until we got the cells. If they really wanted to kill free cat spam, they don't really need to do all those fucking delays and that bullshit. They could just straight up just remove the options to switch between weapons in cells. And then if they do that, and you tell me that, then I'll have another reason to never play the game again.
Because of what? The swipes?
Because they implemented something that made the game unique, and they just backtrack, which is so foolish in my opinion.
Ah, yes, yes. I mean, honestly, honestly, if I were a dev, if I was a dev, right, I wouldn't. I mean, obviously, I wouldn't remove cat spam, honestly, because it's one of the uniqueness of the game itself. Like, imagine I like to. Oh my god, I keep saying this, but imagine
Yeah.
Gcat spam is still a thing. There were no delays, right? And then like and
Yeah.
maybe in the future, like let's say in the alternate universe, okay, let's say cat spam was still a thing.
Huh.
And then when people,
Yeah.
and then here's the thing, right? You know how some people will think, okay, I'll bring up a different example so that you can get what I'm trying to say. So if when people mention or talk about movement shooters, most people will think about Doom Eternal, uh, Halo. I'm not sure, or Ultra Kill, my favorite game. Alright. So similarly, like let's say if people think if people talk about like combo stringing or it's just like switching weapons really quickly, you know, people will think people will immediately think of Pixagon because it is their pioneer. It's what Pixagon 3D is one of Pixagon 3D pioneers. GCAT spamming, you know. So
Yeah. I
so
mean, anyone who gets who like gets for some reason ask what is the game? Like name a game that features like switching between weapons, going a little crazy with the combos of just using different weapons. They would immediately say Pixel 3D
yeah,
because that's what's been standing out
like
most definitely. I've
like
not seen any other shooter game that had that kind of feature, unlike that, like besides PG.
like imagine three category spam being like a worldwide term for gaming, if you know what I'm talking about. When people like let's say in a let's say in another universe, you see someone combo stringing in a different game, and then you would just go up and say, "Hey man, you're tree cat spamming," and they can just instantly know what you're talking about. So like, imagine,
Yeah, I mean,
because this is what the game has pioneered, tree cat spamming, and this term I do
yeah,
not
but
mind. It speaks for itself as well. So
yeah, I mean it does. It's been created, and it could honestly stay for like the rest of the times right here. Honestly.
but like then again, like I just said, people some devs will do anything just for the sake of balancing. So in this case, they sacrifice this one in the universe type uniqueness.
I'm like uh, balancing is not an excuse to nerf cat spam.
Honestly, honestly,
Like their way of nerfing cat spam is to try to give the casuals a chance to even fight against free cats. But what they do is just use one weapon like 99% of the time, maybe switch to one or two other weapons in the meantime, not knowing that the free cast spam exists, and with that you can adjust your momentum and movement because different weapons have different mobility. So you probably gonna switch to melee if you want to move fast. and then you can just switch to more powerful weapons, which might slow you down. But again, you can use those speed alterations by switching between categories to just change your speed, which is giving you that kind of edge in the game as well. But yeah, nerfing it, and also I've seen people saying like again, free cat is no skill. I am guessing they say that just because they use the same no skill weapons as the casual mofos themselves. But here's the thing: if you say that using no skills weapons signify that you are no skill, then that's just completely dumb.
I mean, a better example I would like to mention is that, if it is were to no skill, if it is really no skill, then why isn't everyone doing it? I mean, this is one of the better examples I can give.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
If it's no skill,
If it is no skill, I mean, after all, people are lazy, just want to get the easiest way to get like the most efficient output that they can possibly get. So if like no skill, just fucking barely use probably 3 or 4 categories, like most of the categories, just because you bootleg your meta. Yeah, I mean that's pretty. I mean that's pretty no skill, in my opinion.
so yeah, balancing. I mean, there are more dumb balancing, like what we just like what happened recently was, how did it go again? Right,
There's some
nerfing.
stupid balance notes, man. There's just some stupid
I,
percentage
I
parameter
very
note
pointless.
that makes
Some
no impact on the game whatsoever.
Something that goes like, nerfing weapons of a similar properties, just to introduce something that's the same thing but even more broken, and then the process repeats.
Yeah, yeah. It's so funny that I actually noticed that long before you actually did, because they've
Yeah,
been doing that for so goddamn long. It's actually horrendous.
honestly. So like, yeah.
Oh
So
yeah,
here's this. What do you want to say?
fucking like what was I saying? Oh, yeah, I would also argue a little bit before I leave this free cat fight of unnecessity behind. It's like if you say like, well, they use no skill weapons, so they are no different. You're probably using the trend to like, the trends are usually what lets you do no skill, and free cast spam have will still have the better edge because they still need to use their skills in order to use those no skill weapons to make a better output than what you can. So if you say that so like if someone was saying that, free cast spam are using the same no skill weapons like the trend weapons as we do, that is not a valid opinion because of what I said.
Hmm.
You're just coping because you can't deal with free cast spammers. Period.
How would I say this? How would I say this? Yeah. I think I already mentioned,
See,
I think I already stated
see,
my opinion.
if I were to play the devil's advocate, I'd say the greatest argument towards free cat spam is because it makes other types of guns obsolete. Because you're supposed to use broken single shot weapons all together with a melee, whether it be 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 6 categories, which have you not, which will leave like automated weapons useless. That's the only good reason. That's the only argument that is like the best to play against free cat spam. But I don't even think that is good enough to just abolish free cat spam as a whole.
Hmm. I get what you mean there. I get what you mean there.
Because you never see some fucker use like a minigun in a free cat spam. They're never gonna use it. That's not a combo string, and that's not a typical weapon. A typical cat spam primary is a shotgun because that's a single shot.
Or like any slow fire rate single shot weapons. I mean, as of now, that's like a
Yeah,
few.
that too. But like the characteristics of weapons that you take for making a free cat spam are always single shot, and they're powerful and they're
Yes.
slow in fire rate. That's like the kinds of weapons that you use to build a free cat spam, and because of that, it makes automatic weapons obsolete because you can clearly get it kills faster by hitting headshots 2 times with a sniper and maybe a special that also fires some laser like shot, for example. Then let's say using like the most fucking powerful excavator or the laser minigun, what have you not, because they're gonna practically take longer time for you to get a kill, even maybe almost consuming an entire mag to get a kill. So yeah, that's my take on that debate. If you're a free cut spam hater, know that in my eyes you're coping real hard right now because you don't know any better.
I mean, to think that like okay, maybe we should move on after this. So like think about it, right? Like to all the cat spam haters, is think about what if you are able to, what if you somehow manage to beat cat spammers in your own game, or like I'm trying to incentivize, just try not to feel bad, try not to cope. I think one of the best ways to not cope, because I've not been cat spammed much lately. So what I would suggest you to do is try to step out of your comfort zone and try to discover more combos. I know cat spam delays are really fucking annoying, and the fixed delays. Just try to branch out into more weapons. Even though if you only have 200 weapons, so be it. Just branch out more. Just stop complaining. Maybe what if you use some stupid automatic, and then okay, how would I say this? There are still ways. There are definitely more ways to best a cat spam. Maybe you can best them in movement. I think at least be good at, one of the aspects, like combos, like no, not combos, like movement, aim, obviously. Try something more creative or something instead of just using that same stupid weapon, because obviously you're definitely not DPSing out a cat spammer, that's for sure. So
Uh,
I think the only way to actually like best best a cat spammer is to literally use combos. You have to play the game. Honestly, I at this point I don't think I can think of any other ways besides playing the game to best a cat spammer. You don't have to cat spam. You can just use like creative combos like weakening or movement with mobility without spamming like broken weapons. Like just imagine the satisfaction of besting a cat spammer. I mean, I'm pretty sure cat spamming is not like the end game. Not really end game. It's definitely not.
are you
Okay.
sure about that? Because what more can you do like that goes beyond cat spamming?
No. What I'm saying is that no, yeah. Forget what I said. What I'm saying is that cat spammers are not exactly invincible. I know they're like the pinnacle of game Pixel 3D gameplay or slash mechanics, but they're not exactly like invincible. They're not like gods, because if so, hackers won't be a thing. Kill all hackers won't be a thing. No, kill all
Yeah,
the hackers who uses kill all hacks won't be a thing. The only thing
right.
I think the only players I think that I can think of that can top cat spammers are just hackers at this point. Like
Or
think
other
about
cat spammers.
other cat spammers just skill based, but like anything who like any playstyle that can top cat spam is just hacking at this point. So I think what you can do is to just play the game. I think that's the frankly speaking, I hope there's like other ways, but I think comboing, because that's the point. You're given 6 cells, you're giving 6 categories, and if you're just gonna sit there using just one, that just defeats the point. You might just go back to swipe mode. Fucking Christ.
No, yeah, play Mortal Kombat, man. You see, like if you as a casual player just like collapse of like a superstar casual player who just somehow figures out how to best a cat spammer. Know this, man. Statistically speaking, they're in 100 fights. They probably won like maybe five. They won 95. So it's not much of an applaud, is it?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I think this wraps up for cat spam. This is also like this is like
Yeah,
quite of a
I know.
huge
I'm like
deal.
as much as just been mumbling my way around that topic. I'd rather elaborate that on like on a separate episode than this because I feel like I've been taking a huge part of the episode just addressing my thoughts. on some cat spam. I mean, it's still a flaw because again, the devs did limit it in like the most silly way possible, in my opinion.
So
Well, that's that. Let's see. What else do we have on
what
board? Do you
else?
have anything?
Well, we can talk about okay, we can talk about the content they provide, the way how
Oh,
they
really?
the presentation of the game. Okay, I think we can start off with okay, this is at this point it's like modern times. Okay, so first off we can literally talk about the amount of pop-ups. The way how they present. Okay, so monthly updates, so many changes, UI changes. I'm telling you, this shit. It's not a surprise that people often feel overwhelmed by the content they provide. I'm not sure why is that so. Is it because it's just a kids game and they just want to overstimulate kids until they have a seizure? I have no idea, but that might be it. So lately, there's been a lot of content. No, not really. Sorry, my bad. It's actually it's actually on the on a downhill right now. Uh, how would I say this? Okay, so the content they provide is not as much as it is before, like 2 years ago. Now there are lesser weapons. Usually they'll introduce like 10 to almost 20 weapons every single fucking update, and now it's slowly to
Really?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now it's starting to get lesser. Every single update, like battle pass weapons, they used to be like what
Mm.
like five
You
weapons
know
per battle
what?
pass. Now it's just like
You know what?
two weapons, 2 to 3 weapons. Yeah, what were we saying?
You know what? That may or may not be an indicator to them losing their workforce.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? Yeah, that makes sense. Losing a workforce, but goddamn, their graphic does.
Because you need more workers to produce more of those weapons. Because I find it hard to believe that there might be some machine out there that could generate weapons for them.
AI generator. Nah.
Yeah.
But then
I
like,
don't think they really go that far, and if they did and people found out about it, that might also just cause a huge scar on the game. And again, I have no sympathy if they get any wounds or whatnot to their own game's reputation. They already destroyed it for me, nonetheless.
but then like, but despite all of that, the standard of the weapon designs says the standard is still definitely there. It's
I
getting
mean, yeah,
it is good. It is getting absurdly good. Like, okay, how would I say absurd is that it doesn't feel like Pixagon and
absurdly good.
how would I say absurd is that okay, it is good design, but then the issue is that it doesn't even go well with the game anymore. It's not called. It doesn't look like Pixel Gun anymore. It looks like Pixel. No, it just looks like Gun 3D. Fuck it, no pixel. It looks like Gun 3D. I appreciate the weapon design. Keep it up, okay? Be go wild. Make the most out of world design ever, right? It's just that I don't mind this, alright? It's just that it doesn't feel like Pixel 3D anymore. Because back then Pixel 3D weapon design has to be blocky and whatnot, and now recently it's just bunch of shapes you've never seen before.
I just diverting different shades, but just having like a pixelated texture all over it, I guess.
Yeah, but I really do appreciate though, you know, go keep your the weapon designs, they go absolutely fire. But then again, so like but then like I said, the amount of content is slowly getting lesser. I mean, sure, I mean, sure. The good side is that the upside is that you don't have to grind much in the game, and
Hmm.
people don't have to spend that much money. So maybe okay, so maybe because of the workforce getting weaker. So I'm not sure. Like think about it, man. Just think about it. Workforce becoming weaker, lesser burden to the players. Is it a win loss? No idea. So like yeah, the hamster wheel presentation. Yes, hamster wheel.
Oh my god, hamster wheel.
Yeah, we all love this.
Yeah, absolutely. I
So
mean, if you haven't paid attention to things that happen right now, then I'm gonna just open your eyes and say you've been running a vicious circle this entire fucking time. It might have taken some time before I realized it, but it didn't take way too long before I realized it. for my own part. But essentially, what's going on is now we have this boring ass cycle, which can be make things more boring for certain people than others. But essentially, what it is we have a new update. Now they have a lottery, a battle pass, uh, casino event, which I used to call. I don't know what kind of term they use on that event, but you get what I mean. Since you've been with me when I use that term, it is casino event still for me. I don't fucking know what term they use, but it's still like prevalently those. And of course, new sets. And most or like more times than not, they just reintroduce like the same old features on just the like new weapon designs. Might even bring like a broken weapon of some broken feature that have been nerfed, just so that they could bring it back and then make that an excuse to bring it back, even though it's and if you bought a valid excuse to bring it back. And then you get your rewards. You have like maybe more levels than before on the battle pass, if I remember, like 75 or something. I think.
Nah, 69. Wait, yeah, 69.
Damn, that's crazy. I remember it was being 50 back in the day, but that is still
Exactly,
mad.
exactly 50. Exactly 50.
Yeah. Yeah, and then if you reach that and bought the premium, then you could also get yourself a weapon. And back then, getting premium was also free.
A bit too free.
I mean, I enjoyed it.
Same, man. We all enjoy it.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed their first format of Battle Pass until they had to make it heavily paywall like any other Battle Pass.
So to whoever who have missed this out, my sincere condolences. I am so sorry for your loss. It was actually a good time.
Huh.
Back then, Battle Pass is really, 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 really accessible.
Yeah, like you could get the premium pass, but just grinding, even though you have to grind an ungodly amount,
Or you
which
can
is the
just,
only issue.
or you can have like 6 Battle Pass worth of tickets under
Yeah.
200 gems, under 200 gems. And the best part, you can buy gems with coins. So, I think it's around 425 coins for 6 Battle Pass worth of tickets. So you can imagine how much of a steal Black Market was and Battle Pass. And
Oh
I
yeah,
and
yeah.
I do understand it was so
Say
OP.
no, say less, man.
It was so it was so OP that it drastically affects the PG3D economy. So they have to nerf it. This is the only
Oh,
nerf I. This is one of the only few nerfs I can't understand, because honestly, Pixelgun can go broke, could go broke if they were to just, if they just allow this black market thingy. If
right.
they still allow to buy gems with just coins and buy a fuck ton of battle pass with set currency, I can understand, because if if the game is so accessible and you have a workforce that huge, they're not getting paid. And honestly, I don't think that really matters anymore, because from what you just said, this might be an indication of their workforce getting their declining workforce. Yeah, it indicates their declining workforce. But they're trying their best. Honestly, I think in the future it's just gonna be even more grindy, more paywall. But here's the thing, right? People who tend to pay, I heard this from YouTube, right? Another PG3D documentary. People who spend money on the game are most likely not gonna play as much, and I wholeheartedly agree with that shit. Cause like, these paywall, right? It's just asking for, how would I say? It's just you're more of asking for money than actual players, than an actual player base.
No, like the quality of I can get it. I get it because quality of life there is so shit
Yep.
for FTP players. Like you join a lobby, you already see people because they don't really. I think it's already hard to begin with to just handle new players on a well-established player base who might already be in higher levels. So if you're welcoming them to players who just play in a high tier level like normal, the learning curve is very quickly gonna be very fucking steep for them.
That is that's a occurring issue right now
And
for Pixion, actually.
and and on top of that, to even get good, you have to invest an ungodly amount of time. because of their constraints. Because I fully believe that their constraints is like about the same as during the Office Revolution. You have to grind your ass off to get the stuff that you to get like the newest, the strongest, the best weapons. Could you not?
Hmm.
So people who paid, they just saving themselves some time, and like I have respect that because you're also paying to a company that runs the shit.
My good. I mean, you playing the game, so. But then, like, here's like, think about this. This is another theory, conspiracy or not. I'm not entirely sure. What if PG3D was not a free game? What if it's a paid game? Like, think about it.
I mean, practice says that paid game means that you're gonna get everything for free.
Yeah, like if you were to just put more transactions
So,
after a paywall, hell no, bro. That's not how it is.
uh, yeah, that would be bad model from what I've seen. I find it real hard to imagine PG3D as like a paid game, honestly.
Yeah.
They gotta fundamentally change the game if they're gonna make any good profit out of that.
Honestly.
So I feel like the game by design is not made to be a paid game, as in you pay once, get everything. No,
No, it's
their
just.
the their ga- their game by design it was already made to be a free game with microtransactions.
A fuck ton of them.
So yeah, let me see. What other flops do we have?
So I read this. I hope he's not listening. So balance. Oh shit! I think this has to go with balance. But whatever. I'm just gonna talk about it. So one
Uh,
guy, one guy expressed his experience with the game in how do I say? I won't say metaphorically, but this is how they explain it. He gave a
what?
it's somewhat poetry like. Okay, so but let me just break it down to
Oh,
you.
okay.
Okay, so I read this in a Steam review, and somewhat accurately portrays the state of the game right now. So, let's say you're a new guy and you got killed by a weapon that you think it's OP, and so you grinded your ass day and night, blood and sweat and tears, just to get that weapon, and then you thought, man, this weapon's gonna help me with my journey. And then the moment when you get into a match and you use that weapon so happily, uh, when you're so satiated with your results, with what you just reaped, you get killed by another weapon, which is even more broken than what you just grinded for, and then the process repeats.
Because by the time he gets the weapon, more than because I believe by the time he gets the weapon, a new trend is already dropped out because he spent like not long enough to just get the newest trend, enjoy it before the new trend appears, which is of course fucking stronger in any way, shape, or form.
It's like a never-ending extending endgame, if you know what I'm talking about.
And that's also like the core issue I have with the game is literally that.
The meta
And
is.
plus, it's not really leading to anything satisfactory.
Would you think power scaling also plays a role in this shit?
Definitely.
Power scaling. The process of power scaling and nerfing that power in.
It is inherent in their hamster wheel updates, man. It is just a given with their current model.
Just these random balancing changes just to have an
It's not
excuse
a
to power
balance change.
scale.
It's just an excuse for them to say that yeah, we do care, even though you actually don't care.
Power scaling and then just for commercial purposes, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's
To some
just
extent,
standing
yeah.
behind some fucking advertisement, some good light, even though your model is absolutely terrible.
Like
And
why
again, the deserved downfall of PG3D video wasn't there without a reason. I'll tell you that much.
thing is that, because the game it's losing so many players, right? Okay, so this is okay, this try to get me with me here. Try to bear with me. So like the game has definitely become more competitive. I'm not sure about what you think, alright? Because of so many mechanics, so many new weapons, right? I know tree cat spam is at this point okay, it's still a thing, right? But it can be easily countered by the quote unquote combos we've talked about. So here's the thing, right? We all talked about how cat spam is like the peak of gameplay of Pixel 3D gameplay. It requires every single skill that exists in the game, quick aim, reflexes, and whatnot, right? So, anyways, because of these new broken weapons, right, the skill gap between new players and experienced players is just getting wider. Because let's say it's not that beginner weapons. It's not that the new players are getting how would I say it, they're they're not even let's say they're not even up to the trend. Like when you start a game, you always start off with the same goofy ass six weapons, and then you got the
Uh,
experienced weapons. So you got the experienced players who are getting spoon fed every single fucking month. So do you get what I'm trying to say? So the gap between the resources, yes, the limited resources at the new player's disposal. If you were to compare it to like the experienced players, right, the skill gap is very fucking huge. It doesn't take long to reach level 65. I can assure that. So like by the time when people reach level 65, most of I would assume approximately they will have like a few like 1 to 200 weapons, and then we were to face more experienced or OG players who has like 1,000 weapons at this point. Now you can see the imbalance between the two parties. So I think this is like one of the main issues. Matchmaking. This ties with matchmaking and balancing in general. So what's your take?
I'm gonna ask you something, and that question is: do you nowadays see people asking "What's your ID?" kind of questions?
What's your what?
What's your game ID kind of questions?
Yes, but for different purposes, like identifying a hacker or like adding people.
Okay, then I'm gonna ask you. Then I'm gonna actually elaborate that question. How often do you see people asking the IDs to just figure out if they're an old player or not? Because I'm pretty sure it's hardly any such purpose.
Nah, not really. Because I mean, to be fair, right? I'm not sure if you know this because I think it was last year, 10th anniversary. They implemented this badge system where it shows on your profile and then also it shows on your profile how long you've played Pixel 3D for on that specific game
Oh
ID.
yeah, there was that. Oh yeah, there was that new indicator besides looking at the ID.
Yeah. They have that. So I wouldn't say they would ask their game ID just for that matter at this point, just for identifying hackers and whatnot.
Mm.
So like yeah, so this is like also one of the balancing issues about Pixel 3D because if you just there's just so much content and yet again the new players are still starting off with something like that's something from so many years ago, like the start of Pixel, you know, the earlier
Mm.
stages of Pixel. They only start off with that, and then you have the other players who's just getting spoon fed every single fucking month.
I mean, I get what you mean. It's like
Yeah,
the circumstance
I
that you
mean,
mentioned
I tried my
that
best.
just made the skill gap between pro and new players so huge that it just
It
is like beyond
demotivating.
scary for new players.
It just scares the new
And
players
it's like
away.
it's like this is also the thing I mentioned, which also points to that the new players are not gonna get treated well in the long run. And I think it's just a common issue with multiplayer games who might end up in a state that is similar to PG3D.
And here's the thing, right? With lesser players, it only makes the game more competitive. If you know what I'm talking about. Because chances are, because of matchmaking, right? chances are, if you're a new player, because the amount of players there are in the game, the you will most likely end up with the game with a level 65 and whatnot, and it's it's a self-sustaining system, and it's not a good thing. This system is not a good one.
Uh,
They're just gonna lose players.
yeah. Another flop as well, but I also think that's like very hard to handle to begin with competitive multiplayer games.
Exactly. Competitiveness is like how would I say? It's one way to kill the game, but it really depends on severity.
Yeah, I guess this is why not that many people are willing to play.
Multi
Willing to play. Let's
multiplayer in
say
general.
no, I guess, but like multiplayer PvP style
Yeah,
competitive games.
some people, yeah, not in that.
It's like I can see why people are leaning more towards the gacha games, but that's like a whole nother rabbit hole.
Hmm. Yeah. What's with the gacha games, to be honest? But we can talk about it in the next episode. Next episode, nah. No, we're not talking about gacha
Shooter games
games.
versus gacha games, who would win?
Ah, fuck. It must be the gacha games. Fuck the internet. Screw
Well,
the
that would
trend.
be I mean, what can I say? The typical things, the usual things that comes out of it is like what makes it better.
Oh, speaking of which, I didn't realize. No, I did realize. Speaking of which, I do find myself enjoying single player games more. I think this also goes to show that, not
Because you don't
every
have annoying people that
yeah,
annoys your day, and then you'll get angry about it.
not
That's why.
everyone.
That's why people. That's why you. But you might meet it more often than what you might believe.
Like not
And that's
everyone like competitive PvP is literally not everyone's cup of tea, and myself included.
exactly.
Like I I always find myself just I'm gonna use a strong word here. Judging on my 700 hours on Ultra Kill, you know damn well I relish into that game. 700 hours on Ultra Kill. You know damn well I really enjoy that game. So yeah, I think that's also an issue. That's also one of the reasons why the game is losing its players is because of the skill gap between players and how they can scare off the newbies. And honestly, if I were in that case, I would definitely, if I were a new player, I would definitely stop playing the game after like a few games because it's just that demotivating. Just that, not if it's not demotivating, then it would be boring because I like what's the point of playing the game if you're just gonna lose every single fucking time?
Yeah,
I
that's the
mean,
thing.
I mean, same goes to
And
winning. Same goes to winning every single time. And this only not only applies to new players, like even OG players, like skilled players. Like if they were just gonna win a game every single time, then they'll also experience the similar effect, which is boredom, and they will just leave the game as well. You know what I mean, right? The the balance here,
I mean, it's gonna affect the newer players more than the older players because at least the older players have the skill to just keep the game on for themselves and get the resources.
yeah.
But again, the backside of just winning all the time is that then you think that your skill is already like the meta and you don't need to change it up really. That's the only backside you have to that. Just winning all the time with your skills.
And probably get called a hacker or something. Yeah.
Yeah, like a certain individual we talked about a few episodes ago.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Any other flops we can think of, honestly? I think
I mean, a big flop again, nerfing
cat
cat
spam.
spam. Another one, the Office Revolution in its long run, not in its short run, in the long run.
It perfectly portrays the game perfectly portrays how modern mobile games are right now.
Yeah,
The ads they make, I don't know why the fuck would they do so. I'm still trying to figure out the motives behind uh okay PG3D's motives, okay, behind making these modern mobile ads.
right.
I'm still trying to figure out just for Pixel Country D alone, like why did they choose to hop onto this trend? I've watched videos regarding about this mobile ads thingy, you know. I've watched
Uh-huh.
about it, and then they say something about like it's more about social. So there is some sort of social engineering in there. The only purpose, like this is mobile modern mobile game ads in general, right? Most of the time, their purpose is to have some sort of instigation against your fans in a fancier way called intellect. You know, some mobile game ads is just infuriating to watch, and somehow that kind of works with the engagement. And
No.
because of this, it's widely practiced, well, according to that video, because they instigate a lot. They trigger you by showing you the most dumbest shit, and somehow that kind of works. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Right.
The fancier way I would say is that they instigate your intellect and then into thinking that and then like make and it somehow attracts it kind of makes you want to play that game again. And if it's not
That
and if it's
that
not
is just a building block of marketing.
yeah marketing if it's not that then if it's not about being if it's not about intellect then it will be about um sexualizing sexual stuff. If you know what I'm talking about, I'm kind of tired right now. I can't think of any fancier words.
Yeah.
I don't think I should push myself into this. Okay, so what I'm saying is that if it's not about just triggering your senses and whatnot, your thinking, if it's then it will be like the more sexual approach. They will present the game in the more sexual way. If you know what I'm talking about, some modern mobile
I
games will
mean,
have like a
my current, I mean, that has been done with my current favorite game, and I'm not ashamed of still playing it.
no.
They did a
Those
great
are
job.
fine. Those are fine. I'm talking about those misleading game ads with sexual like sexual content sprinkled on it. Not content, but
Oh, that is not misleading. I had a little bit thought about it today.
really.
Just thought it to myself is like I honestly, if we're gonna talk this briefly, I'm not gonna lie, that honestly should be considered false advertisement, and
Yeah,
they should 100% be suable. They should 100% be legally legally
held accountable.
reliable.
Uh,
Yeah, they should be held legally accountable for that. Honestly, that's my opinion on it. Even though it hasn't really been enforced, because again, I think the law force there is still filled with middle-aged people that doesn't know too well, so they're not really gonna handle such cases. But if the new generation steps in and such kind of law gets implemented, I could like say less, man. Get that shit implemented because I don't want this false advertisement on games, and it always happens on games. It's like what's the problem with just fucking advertising real gameplay? You literally have to have a movie clip making people think that that's the game. A fancy movie clip of some fancy game mechanics that never really exist in your game. That's like what should have been considered false advertising because you're actually not straight out advertising the game. You're just advertising a movie, and you don't make a movie. You're making a game.
false
It was like
advert.
so much easier advertising fucking McDonald's burgers, other kinds of fancy products, the perfumes, which I more often than not call man luring fucking odors because that's literally what it is.
So like false advertisement with sexual intent. I swear, bro. It's just these
No,
games.
like in general, I just don't like I don't care about the specifics. Like those kinds of game ads in general are like so bad, are like so bad, especially if it's false advertisement, and also if it's like a more blatant one is whenever they steal clips from developing games. Like I've seen some like a shitty game name, probably a name of a shitty game, and they steal like beta clips from Zenless Zone Zero, an upcoming game from Hoyoverse. Like that shit was wild to me that they could dish out that ad, and people who wouldn't know would believe that shit, which is not good.
So like back to yeah, I know. I think I've seen some ads that would just steal clips or like assets, but then it's at the back of my head anymore. Like I don't really give two shits about. mobile ads, and plus I have YouTube ad blocker. So about Pixagon, yeah, I've seen ads where they would use like, okay, get this straight. Some ads do not look any more different than the actual game ads we've seen. They would, even despite being called a Pixagon, right? They would literally import a model, like a real life, not real life.
What?
You, you know, like some games. Okay, like I said, the sexual intent. Why I mentioned this is because that Pixagon 3D did the same, and instead of importing their own assets, right? They use someone else's. Pixagon 3D uses someone else's, probably some public domain type asset into their game ads. So just imagine like a Pixagon 3D avatar and like a woman from The Sims or something. I don't know what you call them, but like it is definitely not a Pixagon 3D asset. That's all I know. They're using someone else's, if not like the public assets from some whatever game engine they have, Unity or something. Yeah, they
Huh.
would just make those, like I said, those modern gaming ads misleading type shit, you know?
Huh.
Yeah. So Pixagon 3D is no exception, and on yeah, obviously I do not. And obviously it repels me. It repels me from even making videos about the game because I just feel ashamed, you know, at some point. Like I think I told you before, I was half asleep at this one time, and someone posted a Pixagon 3D ad in the general chat in Weapons and Loadouts chat in the official server, and it drove me to the wedge so hard that I actually sent a death threat to them,
Bro.
and I have to delete that message saying thank God there were no witnesses. Please do not ban me. So yeah,
Wow. You
sometimes
might be
game
back
ads.
sooner than you think now.
Sometimes game
Okay.
ads, even Pixel 3D. The fact that I used to enjoy Pixel 3D, and look how much it has fallen. Like, why would you even join in the trend of making shitty false advertisement? It drives me to the wedge. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. I'm not joking.
Oh man, it's like get out of business, man. Swear to God.
It
That's what
has
I'm saying.
it accurately, if not perfectly, portrays modern gaming apps, modern mobile games. Yeah. So a
It's
lot.
like no wonder why people favor fucking PC gamers still over mobile gaming, even though mobile gaming is like more accessible because it's literally gaming on the go.
Exactly. Yeah, it has certainly lost its legacy. I mean, sorry, its prime, whatever. Yeah, its prime. Back then, mobile games was like, how would I say? I won't say the staple, but like definitely what what keeps people connected and what people and makes what we are today, what shapes us how we are and how we socialize. To be honest, and make us
Oh
a
sure.
yeah. And then you got Gen Alpha. Fuck that shit.
That can be saved for another time.
I don't. Yeah. Yeah, it went from what was relatable. It has certainly reached its peak before. At its apex, we all know that Pixel 3D was like Fortnite level fame or something, or at least Minecraft level fame. It is literally a
Nah.
competitor. It could literally compete with some of the top games, and now it can still compete with the most notorious gaming companies who only ask for money and nothing else.
Yeah.
No,
Uh,
seriously, I mean, like, consider the transactions. I believe people often describe Pixel 3D as some sort of EA ripoff. It's like the only EA game, and it's only Pixel 3D is like the only game that does not look like, that has not been owned by EA, but looks like EA. We all know, even though we know that it's under the, what's it called? What game branch are they under? Nexon? I can't remember.
what?
You know, Pixel 3D submitted themselves into another huge gaming company, right?
What? I think it was Nexus.
Nexus, isn't Nexus the Korean one? Or am I tripping? No, Nexus is a different one. I can't remember. I think it's Nexon Gaming or something. Oh yeah,
Doesn't matter because it didn't lead them any fucking where.
exactly. And Echo Soldier thought it was a good thing. It was good news. No, no, it's not gonna change anything.
Yeah, they're frying my economy, my ass, man. They're not frying the economy. I'm saying it again, man.
So yeah, so this is
The game is dying. No, the game is thriving because they got money. Yeah, yeah, enough to just make another bland hamster wheel update. So much to applaud for Echo.
dude. I see zero effort for the hamster, and for some reason, people they're still getting spoon fed by the new players. I don't know how long this will last, and I do not know how long. I
It
don't.
amazes me that they managed to keep this persistence for like 3 4 years or something. Well, this whole shit started like maybe 20. It went more in full force like 2019, 2020, but I believe. So it's like literally since the Corona years until now that they managed to keep this bullshit persistent. Absolutely insane.
Worst part is that it's still sustainable. That's the worst part.
Yeah,
My only time can tell. Only time can tell. Maybe in the future, just give it a few years and see how it goes. Because honestly,
right.
oh yeah, no. So let's talk. Maybe we can talk about the events. I think I can carry on from here. My goodness, the events are fucking ass. It's either a money race, like real life money race, or a time of your fucking life, or a piece of your life. I'm telling you, the events.
Piece of your life. A significant piece of your life.
I'm telling you, man. And plus, right now, I'm not sure, is it summer for y'all, or is it still exam period for some of you guys? But like, it's either a paywall race, like the cash gun, you have to spend 5,000 gems or something just to get a single weapon, and you only have 15 days to do so. So if that isn't crying out, spending your money out to you, there's something wrong.
Uh,
Spending 5,000 gems. Or you can play 173 games in 20 days. Win, not
no.
play, not play 173 games. You have to win them in the span of 20 days. 173. That is 5 games per day. And only if you just beat, and that's only if you just win every single time. So to like, if you apply this to newer players, this is impossible. And plus, what if they have a life?
Which they most definitely or most probably have.
Yeah, I mean, I understand some players have the time, like Bassery. Honestly, honestly, I'm gonna be brutally honest as well. I respect Bassery to even to have the effort and the will to actually grind everything legit. You know, he's a he's a top one grinder. I know, I don't know how did he manage to have a life. I'm not sure whether he has a life or not, but I don't know how he has the sanity and the will and the motivation to actually grind everything 100%. Like I bet he finished the 173 wins in like 2 days or something. Yes, he is very skillful. Yes, he is a very skilled player. Don't get me wrong. Okay, but the fact that he has the sanity and he can just do so. Honestly, it kind of gained my respect because this is not a difficult feat. It's a really rare feat. Like, would you even bother to even grind that much? I know this sounds really bad, but honestly, his dedication
No, you
earns
literally
somewhat of
like
my.
you literally say this is like me my redemption series because I had nothing better to do back in those days.
Yeah,
So I just played the game and then ran an entire redemption series out of this after getting my account resetted and getting everything legit and then laughed. Well, then again, but this also goes to show like I just spent an ungodly amount of time and wrote an entire chapter which is just playing a singular fucking game called Pixagon 3D. And then in the end, the game became shit. So I don't know whether I should be proud or disappointed.
like call me whatever you want, man. Like if you have the dedication, even let's say if you after you got banned like so many fucking times, or just simply just to speed run to get everything in the game. Honestly,
That is just like number one tenacity.
I know,
That's all I'm gonna say.
but ironically, I do respect that because it's not because not everyone can do, including myself. I don't think I have the will and motivation to do so. Like honestly, yeah,
No,
it's difficult in its own
like
way.
the game doesn't really sell in the sense that the game it caters to just a minority of players, and that's not what sell. You're supposed to sell something that caters to the majority or like a target audience.
But I thought they did attempted that and it went terribly wrong, and it went horribly
And
wrong.
it's still, and I think it still does, man.
Sorry, what?
And even if they reach, and like they did somehow reach it, and they don't even maintain it well.
Hmm.
Don't even maintain the customers well, which is also a big flop in there. And
Like, what have they done? They just create a website, a functioning, a more systematic, I hope, a more
I mean,
systematic support
let's not
system.
forget let's not forget the Discord server that they have.
Dude, the Discord server is like fucking hell. No. Yeah,
It's like a war zone.
we've talked about, yeah, it's like a war zone in that shit. Oh my
It's
goodness.
another PG3D competitor game. Just maybe even worse.
Like all they've done, not really, but like one of the things they've done is just making a more systematic support system instead of just relying on Discord. Now it's just a website. Maybe because it's more accessible, just to make it more accessible. And then they got like what web
I'm
shops.
really wondering who really cares about that website.
I don't know the
Who the
devs, but from my experience, it's all right. The staffs, it's all right. The service is all right.
Alright.
From my experience, all right. It doesn't take too for my I only use it like a few times, but and then all of the time it only takes them like less than 2 days, less than 2 business days for them to respond back. So kudos, I mean props to them, I guess. Right now, from my experience, the support website is fine. So at least okay, there's some praise to Pixel 3D, but that doesn't what's the word? That doesn't trade off with the bunch of shit you've done.
Doesn't really help them much there now.
Yeah, but shots were fired. Shots were fired.
Right.
I mean, the web shop is also another way to support the content creator program. Oh my goodness, the content creator program. Literally CCP.
Wow, what a way to portray it. What a
Dude,
fucking way.
the abbreviation says everything else. Content creator program. If the abbreviation doesn't say CCP
Oh
too, I do not
my
know.
god, man.
Abbreviation wise, CCP.
I
Content
mean,
creator program.
you can literally put the other abbreviation or the original CCP into this kind of CCP because essentially that's what it is.
Yes, they look after everything you upload.
That is crazy.
There must be some sort of
That is
intention.
that is fucking crazy.
There must be some sort of intention behind it. It's content creator program, CCP.
Oh my fucking
Are
god.
you affiliated with the?
Whoever oh my god. Whoever knows, good on you. Whoever that doesn't know, you'll figure out later.
Imagine like a guy coming up to you and asking like, "Are you affiliated with the CCP known as the Content Creator Program?"
Oh my god. Yeah, I think the person who gets asked that question will be tripping first
Holy
before
shit!
hearing what it actually means
Oh yeah,
for
speaking
them.
of which, speaking of the CC, I can't do this. Speaking of
Nah, I
which,
don't think. Well, I mean, I don't think you should get hunted, man. That's what I'm gonna say.
speaking of which, we can talk about the mailbox promotion for
Yeah,
small
you
channels.
wanted so badly to talk about it. Like, what's wrong with it? I
So,
want to hear.
all right. So, in case you didn't know, it used to be a way for small content creators to get more attention, but I get the intention, but it was executed poorly. So
Okay.
apologize for my English right now. I'm a bit tired. What time is it? So
Probably 1 p.m. or something for
okay,
you.
so I repeat, it was I see good intention. It is a good idea, but it was executed poorly. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. Yes. So
Okay.
how it works is that PG3D will advertise or promote someone else's YouTube channel onto the
Oh,
mailbox to for everyone
yeah,
to see,
okay.
to everyone to
Now,
see. Now,
I see what's wrong. I
so
see
so
what's wrong.
here,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay, so this is where it gets wrong, the execution, right? Below that post, that promotion, that advertisement, there's a button called subscribe to get 1 gem. Now this is the mistake here. This is the blunder here because what you're doing.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're gonna say now. Just
Yeah,
go
yeah.
on.
All right. So what you're doing and what people see, when people see that plus 1 gem button, they're not seeing subscribe or support the creator. They see it as free fucking currency. Do you guys want it, please? This is what they see. All right, and some smart players will only know that you don't even need to subscribe to the channel. All you have to do is click that fucking button and go back to the game, and you got your rewards. So you don't even have to engage with the YouTuber in question. You don't have to subscribe to them. You don't have to like the videos. You don't have to watch 15 minutes of it, and you get the rewards. But to the more gullible players that do not know, and surprisingly they're the majority, they will literally subscribe to the channel. And what happens
Oh
next?
my
And what happens
god.
next? What happens next? The YouTube that was promoted, the YouTube in question, will have a fuck ton of ghost subscribers. What does that mean? You have a lot of subscribers, but nobody is watching your videos.
Yeah,
Instead,
because the subscribe simply need to get the currency not for watching your videos.
it doesn't make you
Oh my
it doesn't make
god.
you look like a more successful or a growing YouTuber. Instead, it makes you look like a dead one.
And it happened to like it happened to several YouTubers too, which is crazy.
It makes you look like a YouTuber who is
One
not
of them
doing
being
well.
Evaletcher. One of them being Evaletcher. I
What?
remember him being featured there.
Yeah, Everledger, yeah. Like, you're getting so many ghost subscribers for what? Nobody's watching your video. Like I said, the execution is so bad. I get the intention.
Oh
It's a
my
good
god.
idea. It's a good idea. It's a good idea
That
to
that was actually that unlocked a new that was no that actually unlocked the core memory I just had hidden somewhere, man. That shit was mad wrong.
I swear to God.
Like you said that like you said it goes exactly how you said, like a good idea, but like shit executed. Shit execution, man.
Because people will just see it as free money instead of, oh, I want to support this creator. No, they see it as free money. So what happens next? So
Oh
okay,
my
so
god.
as time passed, yes, in recent promotion, there are lesser execution like this. It will be just a subscribe button, no currency involved. Okay, so I'm pretty sure they did learn from their lessons, but I'm not saying that they completely stop. Uh, they completely stop this practice. What's the word for this? Never mind. I don't care. This ain't an English test. My bad. I had PTSD right now. I'm having PTSD right now. So what I'm saying is that, yeah, they
I think every episode we get PTSD from every dog shit decision that's the main,
honestly.
man.
So yeah, this practice is getting rarer now. They're not really, they're not actually doing this much. If I were to put it simply. So yeah, but it doesn't mean they completely stop this. But in rare cases, in rare occasions, they do have this free currency type stuff, and like I said, it is really unhealthy for the channel, for the YouTube channel in question. This is one of the main reasons why I do not want to sign up for their content creator program. Before that, I inspired to be one, but because of this, it literally not literally repels me. I'm not repelled right now, but yeah, but you get what I mean. The CC. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it discourage you from the grand from this supposed grandiose CCP.
The CC.
We get it.
The CCP, the promotion ultimately
I swear to
repels me from
God.
joining the content creator. Repels me from joining so. The CC. Yeah, you get what I mean. Yes, I will be still doing I will be still doing Pixel content. Hopefully.
I got it wrong. It means current COD points. Nah,
Yeah.
just kidding.
What the
Anyways.
hell? I'll be doing Pixel content like this. Yes, like podcasts and whatnot. But I'm definitely not joining the CC. Oh my goodness, the CC program.
If we apply this season, like whatever we're doing to them, we're gonna get rejected the moment we sign it, man.
I know, I know, I
I
know.
already know that.
That's why I see the pointless of it all. Just do whatever the fuck I want.
And if they say yes, chances are they're just gonna overflow us with dead subscribers, and that's
Exactly.
not gonna happen.
So it's all a dead end. It's all lose-lose situation. So what's the point?
Yeah.
Honestly, I feel bad for those who are still in the CCP, and zero remorse to those who somehow even find themselves violating the CCP, the CC program.
I don't know, what can I say,
No,
man?
no remorse to the YouTubers who even violated the guidelines of becoming a content creator. Like holy shit, how can you fuck up so bad?
It's
Like
like I
he's not even violated for for slandering or shading the devs. No, he was violating from something else. Like how can you fucked up so badly?
It was like that whole male bullshit right there, man. That was like a whole another level of fuck up. Oh yeah,
Yes.
like it made me wonder if that was either like I think what they might have like feel like the whole purpose of it is like they might not really care for the channels. They just wanted to make look like the PG3D YouTubers reflect like a large and thriving community, even though on the flip side it's not. And it's just dead subscribers. And once you figure that out, that's just gonna look like you just poked too many holes in Switch cheese.
So yeah, this is mailbox fucking hell. How many channels were affected? I say numerous. Numerous. All those 3-digit K, all those 3-digit K YouTubers out there you've seen are definitely the ones that are from the mailbox. I'm telling you. That is without a doubt. And you can tell just by the views they're getting. The amount of ghost subscribers there are. So
Yeah, the subscriber view ratio probably somewhat worse than Pixel Echoes, but still.
like, again, good idea but bad execution. So bad
Yeah,
it can be
that is
detrimental to the to the clients that they're trying to help. If you know what I'm talking about, like instead of helping people, you just indirectly harm them. That you
right.
just did something so innocuous. Holy shit! But I'm glad they did. But I'm glad it has lessened. But I'll be much grateful if they just stop this practice entirely. Just simply put a subscribe button. That's it. No catch whatsoever. That's how you
Yeah,
actually.
no free, honestly.
But here's the thing as well. However, there's also another catch. Okay, I'm not done with this then. But yeah, but I'm almost done. Okay, so people do find out that third party promotion is somehow goes against YouTube guidelines as well. So not only it's made not so on not only this practice is unhealthy to those YouTubers, they're also running letting it also leads them to risk of getting, you know, what's the word? Terminated from YouTube because it's somewhat and potentially goes against the guidelines. But as of now, there are no channels I heard of that goes through this that actually got terminated for third party promotion. But it was scary at its time, and that's just another reason why I do not want to join the CC program.
Right.
Yes. So yeah, like just a short story. I once asked a mod for help, and he thought I was asking for the CC pro to join the CC
Oh,
program.
wait, let me just get it. Also, let me just get this shit clear. I think like what you're referring to is like, yeah, a third party
Yeah,
is
third
a
party
third
promotion.
party promoting. Yeah, I think that can be illegal if they also get money from it.
I don't think they're monetized. No, but then again, they're the subscribers, so their view count didn't even change. So is it a profit? I don't think so. It's only profit in subscribers,
If
but
if
profit in financially, I'm not entirely sure.
if they could monetize the feature that led to the biggest fuck up in the mail, they can be legally liable for it. I can see myself. I can foresee that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can see
You'll
that
be
as
held
well.
accountable
So,
because of the guidelines that you cannot like hold a third party. I think they say that also meaning that the third party is earning money from it.
yep. So, where was I?
Yeah. Mail and third party liability
No, no, no.
and
Before,
stuff like
no.
that
After that, what I was talking about. What was I talking about?
void because we're here, man.
Just give me a second. I'm trying to recall. So I was talking about the mailbox and how is it a
Rewinding my name.
so like why the mailbox is a fuck up and wait, that subscriber is Christ. Wow, I can't remember anymore. These are some challenging times where I cannot remember where I left off.
Ah,
Oh
when
well.
we should leave it off because we probably spent like 3 hours just talking ourselves outy.
Dude, I think we might have
Um,
to. I think we might have to start. Make a part two to the shit. Cause this is a good topic for the stream. For this podcast. You know.
I mean, I don't mind as long as we can have something to talk about to take
Yeah.
a break from our everyday doings every once in a while. I'll be down.
Yeah.
I'll be down to
I'll be
figure out
jotting.
what other hidden memories I have.
I'll be jotting down. So I'll be searching. I'll be going down the memory my own memory lane. Probably just find some sources from that
Yeah,
mailbox.
well, at least that was like the tip of the surface of this entire thing, I guess.
Oh my goodness, there's more to this iceberg, guys.
Yeah, that's absolutely. You probably should split into several parts if we just happen to find out that there's like way more than what we can put in that episode, and we'll figure that out shortly. We'll just spend like a month hiatus in a way just to prep these assets, and also because of exam preparation issues and what have you not.
Huge
But
props to
now we're
this
back
guy.
here.
Huge props to this guy. This guy made like 190% of the stuff here. I'm just here to just
Put
to
it
make
all together.
just put it all together to weave the wolf the web and just make this podcast a thing, you know?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So props to this guy who made most of the visual
Yeah.
effects here. Yeah. I think we can,
Yes,
if
thanks,
I
man.
honestly,
Yeah.
if I can't think of anything else, if I can't recall, maybe we can wrap it up right now.
Just wrap it up and then we'll figure out later, man. I hope you guys did enjoy this surface of tip of the iceberg episode of the flops. There are probably amounts of flops that we haven't been digging out, but we're sure gonna dig it out eventually. Unless there's like some topic that we're just wanting to talk about with a burning passion.
With a burning passion.
But
Keyword.
since it's yeah. Now that I'm done with my final exams, even though I'm gonna get into a job in not too long, but I don't think that's gonna affect the stream schedule in any way, shape, or form because we put it on Sunday. I don't work it in Sunday, so yeah, we can still keep the flow. I think it will be a great break to just to to just have a rest from my job and whatnot. But
What?
yeah, this will I'll be in a different place to figure out how to deal with that really, and it shouldn't really be an issue really. I'll
Okay.
just gotta figure that out. Oh yeah. But anyways, that's been it for episode 4 of the blunders, the random blunders we managed to pull up from Pixel 3D. I hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, be sure to smack the like button and also be sure to subscribe for more professional ranting of PG3D.
Professional ranting. Only here. Nowhere else. Nowhere
Only
else.
here will get like the high quality of ranting. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Alright then. Alright, so this is this week's episode. I'll see you guys next week, hopefully.
Yeah.
There'll be
Yeah.
a there'll be a vid.
Bye.
There'll be a vid up. Bye. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wait. Oh.
Bye.
Bye.